Good afternoon, everybody. Ian here with Redline, and today I decided I wanted to do a video for you and share with you 5 things I have learned the hard way concerning entrepreneurship, starting a business, and getting into business. I myself have been in business for myself for over 20 years, and to say that I have learned a lot the hard way is an understatement. I will say that I have a lot more to share on this subject matter than just 5 highlights. If you guys want to see another video like this and me share some more of my thoughts, just tell me down below in the comments and I'll make another video. I'll also tell us down in the comments down below what you think I missed. What else should folks know before starting a business? Put that down below and share with us. As always, I would ask down below you click the like button, give this video a thumbs up if you thought it was helpful, subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications if you want to make sure you don't miss any of my future videos. So I should preface this video with why should you actually believe and listen to anything that I'm about to tell you? And that's a great question. I'll give you 2 answers. Number 1, I have tried and failed at business. My first attempt, I started an automotive restoration company in 2001, and by 2002, that business had gone out of business. I did away with that, tried something different, and opened Redline Engineering, which we are about to celebrate our 20th year in business in February of 2022. Today we've got a staff of 10 and we do around $600,000 to $900,000 a month in business. So people ask me for business advice all the time because it's well known that I run Redline. Point number 1 that I want to share with you is that there's 2 types of money that you can make in this world. There's money that you make for yourself as an entrepreneur and money you make for yourself as an employee of a company. Now, the reason that I say that there are 2 different types of money is because you only get to keep so much of it if you're an entrepreneur. Let me explain. You've seen your own pay stub before and seen FICA on there, right? Well, that's 7.65% that goes to the federal government, okay? What a lot of folks don't know is that the business that is employing the employee is also paying that 7.65% again. It's something that the CPAs call the matching portion. So basically what that means is if you're going to leave your $200 a day job and go start a business, you're going to need to earn $217 a day in order to pay that additional tax because you're paying the 7.65% twice. Once as the employee and once as the employer, since you're now self-employed. So $217 a day self-employed is the same thing as $200 a day as an employee. Now, the wormhole actually goes a little bit deeper than that. You've also got to take into account that as an employee, you get paid for a lot of things where you're not actually at work. And I'll give you a few examples. Maybe your current employer offers X number of days of sick leave. If you're self-employed, nobody's going to pay you for anything if you didn't come to work that day. If your parents, one of them dies and you've got to go to a funeral, you're not going to get 2 days of bereavement. Nobody's going to pay you for that. You're not going to get 5 days of PTO vacation time awarded at the end of your first year. You're not going to get a 401k retirement plan or a health care plan or anything. So you need to understand that if you choose to leave your job as an employee and become an entrepreneur, you better make substantially more money just to break even. The number 2 point that I want you to understand is that the IRS is going to tax you based on your taxable profit and not your actual profit. I realize that may sound a little bit strange, but this is really important. You need to understand that what you think growth should cost and what it does cost are 2 totally different things. The way the IRS does business is set up very carefully to try and make sure that businesses, in my opinion, do not grow and do not create new jobs. Let me explain. Let's suppose for a minute that you start yourself a business. You're working nights and weekends from your home out in the country and you are retailing utility trailers, okay? You have a hell of a first year and you make $100,000 in profit, okay? Here we are, almost completely through the year, halfway through December. You're looking at $100,000 in hand, in the bank, whatever, and you say, okay, I want next year to be a remarkable year of growth for this business. I'm going to take $50,000 of that $100,000. I'm going to invest it in new inventory, utility trailers, so that I'm stocked up with everything that my customers want. I'm going to take my other $50,000 and I'm going to buy a piece of commercial real estate with good road frontage where I'm going to get lots of walk-in business. So there we are. In the end of December, I spend my $100,000. At this point, I have made $0 in profit. In the real world, I have $0 in the bank. You need to understand that the IRS is not going to tax you that way. They are going to tax you based on your taxable income and not your actual profit. You technically still have all of that money in the form of trailers, so you can't write it off until you sell those trailers. And that piece of commercial real estate that you bought, well, you can't write it off as well. Not all at once anyways. You do it over 39.5 years. So here you are now. You owe income taxes on $99-ish thousand, and you owe probably somewhere in the range of $30,000 of taxes to the federal government. So you can kind of see now that what you think growth should cost and what it does cost are really not the same thing. You really need to sit down with your CPA and make sure that you understand how the tax laws work in your state so that you have a plan for how you're going to pay for your taxes as well as your growth. You know, on the flip side of that equation, as we were just talking about there, that same guy could go out and take no dollars out of his pocket because he has $0. He could go out and buy a $100,000 pickup, write the whole damn thing off right there in 1 year, and now he's got $0 of taxable profit. He doesn't pay that $30,000 in taxes at all, but of course he owes $100,000 to a bank for the truck that he just bought. So there are ways that you can manipulate your taxes, and you need to make sure that you understand that stuff in advance so you don't get caught with your pants down. The third piece of advice that I want to give you is that ideas to make money are a dime a dozen. Ideas to make lots of money are a lot harder to come by. The reason that I'm telling you this is I see a lot of people out there that are getting ready to start a new idea, and in my opinion, they have not really asked themselves and been honest and said, well, you know, if this business does as well as I could possibly hope, how successful am I really going to be? I mean, you know, is this really worth it? Let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Everybody, we have all seen snow cone stands on the side of the road, right? These are folks that, in retrospect, I kind of wish would look at their idea and try and do the math and define what success is really going to look like and is it really worth their time and talents. Now, there may be some folks out there that are making big money in the snow cone business, but I've seen an awful lot of stands on the side of the road that I look at and I think, man, if that guy's selling 100 snow cones a day at $2 a snow cone and he's working 5 days a week, he's making $1,000 a week gross after he pays all of his expenses for his trailer and supplies and everything in the world, he's probably making about the same amount of money that you would at Walmart where you actually get paid vacation and health care. So what I'm trying to say here is you should really think about this in advance and say, is my idea of what I'm about to do to get into business, is it really worth my time? If there's not a chance that it's going to pay off really, really big, spend your time on something that could pay off better for you. My fourth piece of advice comes regarding the hire of employees. If you start yourself a business and it takes off and is any degree of successful, you're probably going to find yourself needing to hire an employee at some point. Now, you've heard folks say probably your entire life that good help is hard to find. And the day that you become an employer, you are going to find that to be true 20 times over. We find as pretty much a good rule of thumb at Redline, anytime we need one new good employee, somebody who comes to work 5 days a week, shows up on time, you know, doesn't come back from the lunch hour drunk and is actually worth a crap, we find that we really have to hire about 4 new guys, 3 of which are either going to quit in a short amount of time or get fired before you actually hire one person who is worth a crap. At the time of filming this video, October 2021, everything here in Florida, every business has got a help wanted sign, and it seems to be that all over the country. Yet for some strange reason, the unemployment is just absolutely still sky high. You know, you might wonder why is that? And the obvious answer is that a large portion of this country doesn't give a damn about actually going to work and working for a paycheck. In my experience, probably about 50% of the people who actually put in an application show up for their own interview. Now, why am I telling you this? How is this helpful at all? What I'm trying to get across is if you start a business and you become an entrepreneur, when you go to hire people, you had better do it very, very carefully. It is a magnificent investment of time and money in trying to find and train new people. So select them very, very carefully. And when you finally get somebody that comes to work and does a good job and it's a good hire, you had better take very good care of them. Pay them well, treat them right. If you don't, somebody else will do it for you. To give you a little bit of an example here of what I mean by this, we hired a guy, I think 2 years ago, that showed up to his third day on the job late for the third time in a row, just by only, 5-10 minutes, something like that. And our general manager looked at him and said, "Hey fella, we start at 7:30 every day. You need to be at your desk with your headset on, ready to help Redline customers when we open at 7:30. And I'll never forget his response. It was, "Man, listen, I have kind of a knack for just being a few minutes late every day. It's kind of my thing." To which he was promptly fired and called us an asshole as he walked out the door. The fifth and final thing that I want you to know about starting a business, if you think maybe you want to be an entrepreneur, is everybody seems to think that businesses go out of business because they stop making money. That's not actually true. Businesses go out of business because they run out of money. So what do I mean by that? Let me explain. Suppose for a minute that your business is growing. It's growing like crazy, and all of your capital is off doing other things, and as a result, you accidentally let that business checking account get down to $0. Well, if everybody's payroll paychecks bounce on Friday, then come the following Monday, instead of people sitting at their desks, at their computers, and on your forklift seats, they're going to be out trying to find a new job that can ensure that their payroll check actually clears. So staying in business is not actually a matter of, did I make money today, but more so, do I have money for tomorrow? So how do we combat this problem at Redline? And the answer is, we don't extend credit terms to anyone. No one owes Redline any money at all. In my experiences, I've found that the customers who actually do intend to pay you for the product, they don't mind to pay for it when it ships. And the ones who do have a problem with it are really a small enough group of customers, such a small percentage of the customer base, that it's easy to go without them anyway. So in conclusion, if you're thinking about getting into entrepreneurship, is it actually worth it? And I would say initially, no, but over the long term, it can be. You've got to understand that, most entrepreneurs for that first year or two are going to be putting in a lot more than 40 hours, working nights and weekends to try and make it happen. Most of them are not going to be pulling a paycheck from that company for a year, maybe 2 years, actually getting paid anything from your time. And you're going to learn the hard way that you don't own a business. Business owns you. However, it's worth mentioning that when you build this business and the day comes to where you've got a staff that can handle your affairs for you while you're not there at your office, is you're actually making money when you're not at work doing your job. And not just that, wherever you're working right now, maybe that management position that you've been gunning for pays $50,000, maybe it pays $100,000, whatever it pays, it's never going to be $500,000. And that's kind of one of the big pros of self-employment, is there's no ceiling on how much money you can make. Now, for you entrepreneurs that are thinking about entrepreneurship and starting a business, before you go all gung-ho and decide this is what you want to do, I want to leave you with something. I enjoy watching the NBC show Shark Tank. And one of the things I've noticed about that show is there seems to be just an unlimited supply of husbands and wives that come onto that show, explain that they have poured their life savings and a second mortgage on their house and the kids' college fund into starting a business that they had a lot of faith in, and now they're losing money, the business is not going anywhere, and the last thing they hear is the bald-headed shark, Kevin O'Leary, who tells them to take the business out back and shoot it.